Folks, before you even start today's video, pause it and go over to shopwcbs.com and get yourself a world-class Bullshitters t-shirt. We just launched, we have some awesome designs, and we're going to be adding more monthly. We're going to treat the store as a reflection of the channel. We have a great joke on a show, we're going to put it on a shirt. We're also going to make it very interactive. If you buy our beer glass and drink with us, you'll get a shout out. It'll be like drinking with us virtually. So folks, go over to shopwcbs.com, support independent entertainment because the real world entertainment sucks. And now it's time for the video. As the Eternals' Bill withers away, there's hope that a prequel can save the franchise. Yeah, you heard me right.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
Unless you've been living under a rock since 2008, you're definitely aware of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Unless you've been off the internet, you've definitely heard about the Eternals and how bad it is. A little over 2 weeks ago, the Eternals was met with terrible reviews calling it Marvel's worst. Then, it got worse. The film actually came out, and the press called the $71 million opening a disappointment. Now there's talk of a prequel, since there sure as hell won't be a sequel. For screenwriters Ryan and Kaz Firpo, the past few years have been a universe-shaking journey. First, the writers penned a post-World War II spec script called Ruin that got them a manager and dozens of meetings around Hollywood, including at Marvel Studios. 6 months later, Ruin had been voted under the top spot of the blacklist, and Marvel's Nate Moore called them to pitch Eternals. After winning the coveted job, the Firpos spent months locked away in a windowless room at Marvel headquarters in Burbank, working closely with Moore. Chloe Zhao eventually boarded as director with her own take, and they spent even more time working on drafts with her. Along the way, the Firpos fleshed out some of the big swings for the film, including a heartbreaking twist involving Icarus and Ajak. Spoiler alert, and she turns into a rubber doll. It's the foundation of the story, really. It's the twist that's the impetus for everything, Ryan Firpo tells The Hollywood Reporter of a later movie reveal. As the development went on, the Firpos had the rare good fortune to write for specific actors as they were cast, among them Kumail Nanjiani, whom the actor pictured for Kingo, only to be told that it was unlikely. Nanjiani might be taking a different role in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They also wrote Marvel's first same-gender relationship between Phastos and husband Ben, a significant milestone for the studio. It was never mandated from on high, says Kaz Firpo, who was raised by two women. It was very normal for me. That normalcy, that completely unremarkable nuance of everyday life was something I really wanted to reflect from the beginning. In addition to the Eternals, the Firpos are passionate about penning spec scripts with the duo working on becoming a directing, producing team. But they would love to stay in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. One dream project? An Eternals prequel on Disney+, though they note at this stage it's something they've only joked about. Well, based on the performance, the reviews, and the general consensus of the Eternals, that's all it's gonna be is a fucking joke. On a list of shows people are least excited to watch, an Eternals prequel's gotta be pretty high on that list. I'll spare you a review of the Eternals right now, I'll do one later, but there's no life in the Eternals. Marvel loves to add more to its roster of shows, but how many of those are necessary? And of those, how many are good? More Eternals reads like more Inhumans, and you don't want more Inhumans. For those who don't know the Inhumans, good for you. You were spared. If you do know, sorry for your loss. The reason I'm bringing up the Inhumans is because it holds an 11% on Rotten Tomatoes and shares a lot of similarities with the Eternals. Most important, they're both failures. In the mid-2010s, Marvel embarked on a grand experiment trying to make the Inhumans popular. They gave them multiple comics and planned to put a movie out which got scaled back to a TV show, The Inhumans. The entire thing from comics on down was a monumental failure, and the Inhumans have barely been seen since. The TV show was probably the biggest failure, killing any chance of the Inhumans getting a bigger spotlight. And now I'm going to look at this list and I'm going to compare it to the Eternals, but Marvel should have learned their lesson all those years ago. They didn't. They doubled down, and diversity wasn't enough to save the Eternals. Number 10, the teaser image didn't do the show any favor. Well, talking about the Eternals, that's accurate. Looking at some of these images, they look like bad photoshops, and nothing else was released. This is rare for Marvel to have so little production art for a film in terms of marketing art, but damn it, the Eternals is the record holder, again another mighty Marvel first, for lack of images. Why do you think we've used the same few images over the title cards? Not because we love those images, that's all there is out there. That should be a telling sign. These teaser images, well, why would I put faith in a badly photoshopped face? The movie matches. Number 9, production values could never match what made the concept so great. Well, that's not really a problem for the Eternals. With $200 million, they could do anything on screen, but they chose to make it ugly and boring, so let's move on. Now I'm going to jump down a few because the rest is just budgetary stuff, and again, it's not really the same. But here's the important one. Even to comics fans, the Inhumans were D-listers, so what hope did they have with casual fans? Now I'm going to play a game. I'm going to replace one of those words, and we're going to see how it reads. Even to comics fans, the Eternals were D-listers, so what hope did they have with casual fans? Comic fans are different than other types of fans. Sometimes the more complicated, esoteric something is, the more they like it. This didn't happen with the Inhumans, or the Eternals. While the characters are interesting, not the Eternals, and just about everyone loves Black Bolt, Marvel failed with their massive Inhumans push in the comics, just like the Eternals. The fact that Marvel expected TV fans to get into the concept without the benefit of years of great stories that fans could go back and read and start to like them is kind of mystifying, just like the Eternals. The MCU had success with simple concepts. Iron Man is a rich guy with PTSD and armor. Captain America is a superpowered Boy Scout. Thor is a god, but the Inhumans are very complicated, and the show didn't do enough to make them palatable for audiences. But the Eternals are very complicated, and the movie didn't do enough to make them palatable for audiences. Why can't Marvel learn their lesson with super teams? It's not like they ever did it right. The Avengers could have been more successful. So you think Marvel would have learned its lesson with the Inhumans and helped the Eternals avoid those problems? Alas, they did not. After reading this list and thinking back to 2017, I got a little mad at Marvel. Stop trying to adapt Jack Kirby's work if you're going to do it so poorly. DC and Zack Snyder, they did it better. Justice League did Jack Kirby better. Let that sink in. The Eternals, worse than most superhero films ever made. Speaking of bad, the Critic's score is bad news for the Eternals. It keeps dropping. Since the film's been released, it's dropped to 47%. It was already the lowest ranked MCU film, and now it's fallen even more. I'd love to play a game. How low can it go? So, let's play. I think the score is going to stay the same. Do you? If the Eternals reaches 0, I'll eat my hat. So I'm going to ask the most obvious question. Would you watch an Eternals prequel? This whole video is a big no from me, so I already answered, but I want to know what you guys think. Tell me down in the comments below. Marvel's The Eternals is here. It's almost gone forever, and I'm thankful for that. As a slew of other big blockbusters start to reach streaming quite early, James Bond, No Time to Die, I wonder how long it's going to take the Eternals to run away with its tail between its legs and close up shop. As we've learned today, Disney is not in that good of a place financially, so it'll be very telling. It's kind of funny how these things work out. Disney spends all this time doing the right things with the right characters, but they didn't really figure out their future. So yeah, they made their money at first. They were pretty solid movies. Some were really great. They were great events. I wouldn't call them great movies, but great events. Cultural moments. When you saw it with the right group of people, they became memories that you'll never forget. With these newer ones, that's not the case. They're too generic to be unique. They're too repetitive to be fun. And the Eternals is just too boring to enjoy. You're not supposed to be bored in a superhero film. You can think in a superhero film. It can ask you the greater questions of humanity. That stuff, that can be important. The Eternals is just full of very unimportant things, and I'm excited to see how far it drops at the box office this weekend. So, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for watching. Welcome to all of our new subscribers. Thank you, folks. Be sure to check out shopwcbs.com. Grab a WCBS t-shirt, because you know you should. And then make sure you're signing up for Wokebusters. That link will be available tonight. We will be sharing it all over social media, all over the world, and you can get involved with Wokebusters. What is it? It's a paranormal parody where 4 working class guys fight to take down the crazy political correctness that is destroying the world, one woke ghost at a time. Want more? Well, find out next time. So, folks, thank you for watching. Be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.